Welcome back. Now, management of the Korlebu Teaching Hospital spent over 600,000 cedis on the 2016 Christmas bonuses, while each of the over 5,000 staff members took 100 Ghana cedis. The 7 management members took 17,000 cedis each, with the Chief Executive Officer collecting 21,000. Here is an investigative report by my colleague Sarah Parko.
It's barely a year since issues regarding financial crisis at the Korlebu Teaching Hospital made waves in the media. The breakdown of the hospital's intensive care unit ICU, the Central Sterile Services Department CSSD, and the closure of the eye clinic, among other challenges which demanded money to fix, brought operations of the hospital under scrutiny. Months down the line, TV3's investigations has gathered that management of the hospital spent over 100,000 Ghana cedis as motivation for staff and extra allowances for management members during the 2016 Christmas. Management members who benefited from the amount included Director of Medical Affairs, Director of Administration, Acting Director of Pharmacy, Director of Finance, Director of Nursing Services, Acting Director of General Services and Director of Human Resources, and the Chief Executive of the hospital, Dr. Gilbert Buckle. Board Chairman of the hospital, Professor Anthony Mauli Sala, confirmed that approval was given for the payment of staff bonuses, but not that of management. The senior staff of the hospital says they will take the issue up to ensure a refund of the monies. However, when contacted, Chief Executive of the hospital, Dr. Gilbert Buckle, refused to comment on the issue.
Meanwhile, board chairman of the hospital, Professor Anthony Mauli Sala, says he's shocked by the over 100,000 cedis spent by top management of the hospital as their Christmas bonus. He was outraged that the CEO alone took home 21,000 cedis as his Christmas bonus without consulting the board at a time the hospital was bedeviled with serious financial problems. He has been speaking to my colleague Edward Kwabi.
So over 100,000 Ghana cedis was blown on Christmas bonuses alone for workers and staff of the Korlebu Teaching Hospital. This is at the back of challenges that the hospital has been facing over the years. Now, just in 2016, let me tell you what happened. About 3 clinics, surgical clinics, I must say, in the Korlebu were shut down basically because they didn't have enough money to fix them. But at the end of the year, that is 2016, they had such an amount to spend as bonuses for staff. We've been joined by the board chairman of Korlebu Teaching Hospital. First of all, do you think that it was necessary to blow such an amount on Christmas bonuses?
It's utterly unnecessary. In fact, yesterday was the first time I heard about this, when your reporter called me to ask me if I knew anything about this 100,000. And in fact, I told the reporter that as far as I know, and other board members we are aware, we voted 100 Ghana cedis for each employee of Korlebu to be used solely for Christmas party. Just like in my school here, they give you rice and oil and sardine or whatever. So the same thing, you spend 100 and that's it. So as for 100,000 being spent, I had no knowledge of it whatsoever until your reporters alerted me yesterday. And I promised them that I was going to check, and I did. And it's true, the amount of 100,000 or close to that has been spent.
We understand that CEO alone had 21,000 cedis, with over 500 workers of the company also taking away 100 cedis each. If you look at the figures involved, if you add up, we'll be eating into the purse of the teaching hospital.
For the 100 Ghana cedis, that can be justified because that's for each employee. And it's for motivation. Christmas time, all organizations, one way or the other, organize parties for their employees. So we have decided 100 Ghana cedis per employee. That's it. But as for 100,000, the board we never had it. Know what is going on. So we don't want to take any action now and be asked or be told that we are acting ultra-virus because we don't have the locus to convene a board meeting. So we are waiting, and I've also asked a colleague to check from the Ministry of Health as to what we should do. But in the meantime, we want to state categorically that it is not the best of action taken by management to take 100,000 Ghana cedis and be shared among only 10 or less than 10 employees of the hospital.
How do you get such an amount approved? Do they need to come to the board to get approval from you before they disburse such an amount as bonuses for staff, or the management on their own can approve such an amount?
No, they cannot. Management cannot decide and then disburse an amount and pay itself. It's like being a judge, referee, and whatever at the same time. So it's absolutely wrong for them to do such a thing. They cannot. They should have brought it to the board. And unfortunately, they did it at the blind side of the board. We had our last board meeting, I believe, January 4th. And then President Nana Akufo-Addo was sworn in January 7th. So when we had our last board meeting, that issue was not brought up.
Do you still hold yourself as the board chairman of Korlebu Teaching Hospital?
That's a difficult question. Based on the transitional provisions of 2012, I don't know. Because it states categorically that we all cease to hold office. So I am working on that assumption until we hear otherwise.
Grateful for your time. We've been having a chat with Professor Anthony Mauli Sela, who is the board chairman of the Korlebu Teaching Hospital.
Right, 3FM's Sarah Parko broke the news of this story on Monday, and we have been following this to the latter on radio on News Hour 6 p.m. and we'll still be covering this to a great length to get to the bottom